So let's start the news. Exercise Dharma Guardian begins today. The Indian Army contingent departed to Japan for the 6th edition of India-Japan Joint Military Exercise Dharma Guardian. The exercise is scheduled to be conducted in East Fuji training area in Japan from 24th February to 9th March 2025. Exercise Dharma Guardian is an annual event conducted alternatively in India and Japan. Last edition of the same exercise, that is Dharma Guardian, was conducted in Rajasthan in February and March 2024. As you all know, our joint exercises with other countries are very important, particularly when you are writing about India-Japan relations. You have to mention a point. We have a joint exercise called Exercise Dharma Guardian, and for that matter, with any other country, if you conduct a joint exercise, that question is important for prelims and mains also, and even for interview. For example, we have Haath se Haath, hand in hand with China, and we have Indra with Russia. We have Lemite we have equivalent with Maldives. Likewise, we have number of joint exercises. With Nepal, we have Surya Kiran. So, Sampriti with Bangladesh. Whenever joint military exercise happens, you are expected to read, take a note on it, because this is very important. Military contacts, military exercises, joint maneuverability, these are the things which we need to mention. Next interesting news that is coming up from international politics. Germany's Conservative Alliance all set to win the elections in Germany. Germany's Conservative CDU-CSU Alliance, led by Friedrich Merz, almost won elections with between 28.5% and 29% of the vote share. The far right AfD is the far right party, very conservative party in Germany, AfD. The far right Alternative for Germany, also called as AfD, followed in second place with 19.5% to 20% of vote share. The surge of anti-immigration AfD was fueled by public fears over immigration. AfD is against immigration, like Donald Trump ideology. AfD in Germany, AfD party in Germany is against immigration. Despite the strong result, the AfD is set out to stay out of power for now, temporarily, because its possible coalition partners refuse all cooperation and coalition with the far right. They don't want to have a coalition with the far right party called AfD. So, if the results are completely out, we can say conservatives might form the government in Germany. But in order to build the majority in the parliament, the Conservative Party also should get some support from other political parties. And the Social Democrats, particularly Olaf Scholz, is going to out, but this party might give support to conservatives also. The Social Democrats or SPD party recorded the worst result in the history of Germany's post-war democracy. The present Social Democrats who are in rule, Olaf Scholz government, have shown worst result in the post-war German democracy. And the Greens, another possible partner with conservatives, had 12 to 13.5% of vote share according to the exit polls. So finally, Germany's conservative CDU-CSU alliance is going to form the government. Most probably, Friedrich Merz will become the German Chancellor. See, whenever any development happens internationally, particularly in big countries like America, Britain, Germany, Japan, you are expected to follow which ideology is winning, which ideology is actually faring good in the world. So, AfD party, which is far right party in Germany, also almost got 20% of the vote share. It's a big thing. So, they are anti-immigrants in Germany. Earlier, few years back, there was a German Chancellor, Angela Merkel. Her policy was pro-immigrations. So, Germany was successfully, the people's thoughts and ideas were molded by AfD that over an excessive inflow of immigrants will harm the Germany. Over and excessive inflow of immigrants to the country will harm the Germany. But Angela Merkel thought Germany had an aging population. Germany needs workers and Germany needs skilled workers, semi-skilled workers. So she allowed immigrations that proved wrong, that proved very harmful for her in her elections, and she lost her elections. Then Olaf Scholz have taken power, but he could not completely succeed with his ideology. Now conservatives are coming up, and also AFD, Alternative for Germany, the far right party, though temporarily it might not be in power, in future we can see in the next German elections, AFD can create an impact. Already it created an impact by getting 20% of the vote share. So, important news which you have to follow up. Germany elections. There is a big news that is coming up from central government. From last 2-3 days, Advocates Act was in news because there is a wide scale protest that the advocates draft bill is taking away the rights of the advocates. Yesterday, central government withdraws amendments to the Advocates Act after protests by the lawyers and bar council. The central government, amid protests by the lawyers, said it will revise the draft advocates amendment bill as it ended the public consultations. The central government's decision to review the Advocates Act came amid strikes by lawyers and other objections by Bar Council of India. The central government have temporarily withdrawn the Advocates Act. Actually, the Advocates Act 1961 is a law that regulates legal practice and conduct of advocates in India. It also established All India Bar and State Bar Councils. So, Advocates Act 1961 is a law that regulates legal practice and conduct of the advocates in India. It also established All India Bar and State Bar Councils. It's very important. So, there are many things that were proposed to be amended, but central government have taken away, temporarily suspended this amendment. So, definition of a legal practitioner, definition of a law graduate, and registrations and prohibition of strikes with respect to lawyers, and registration of the foreign firms in India, women representation in Bar Council. There are many things that government wanted to do, but temporarily it was stopped. And other interesting news that is coming up in IR, deported by US to Panama, 12 illegal immigrants reached India. A batch of 12 illegal Indian immigrants deported from US to Panama arrived in Delhi via Istanbul on a Turkish Airlines flight, making them the first group to be sent out back without restraints since 3 American military flights brought deportees to Amritsar within a fortnight this month. So, 12 Indians, they have come, first initially they were deported to Panama, and they have come through different airlines to India. Even this is interesting news. India-UK trade talks, you all know that. You all know that in Britain in 2016, people voted for Brexit, and Brexit happened. Now, India should deal separately with UK in trade deals. UK is interested to have a separate trade deal with India. The new UK government, 𝐾𝐸 government, it is now on talks with India with respect to duty cuts on scotch and cars, amid indications that Indian industry has given more space or more room on whiskey, with India going to press for easier visas for businessmen and professionals under the proposed free trade agreement. There is a proposed free trade agreement between India and Britain, not yet finalized, is also earlier interested in that, but it could not materialize. Now, 𝐾𝐸 government is in full charge of this deal. Let's see how Indian government will respond for this FTA completely with Britain, and what are the modalities with the Britain. This is the thing. So, Mann Ki Baat. Yesterday is Sunday, Mann Ki Baat. So, we have March 8th, International Women's Day. PM Modi is going to hand over his social media accounts for inspiring women. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has announced a unique initiative to empower women on the occasion of International Women's Day on March 8th. He will hand over his social media accounts to some inspiring women, giving them an opportunity to share their experiences through his accounts that have a global following of millions. While addressing his listeners during 119th episode of Mann Ki Baat on February 23rd, the Prime Minister said, "This time on International Women's Day, I am going to take an initiative which we will dedicate to women's power. On this special occasion, I am going to hand over my social media accounts like X and Instagram to a few inspiring women in our country for one day. Such women have achieved success in different fields, have innovated and made a distinct remark themselves in their different fields. On March 8th, they will share their work and experiences with countrymen. It's good. And Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says, Israel ready to resume Gaza fighting at any moment. Okay, so we thought at least temporarily there is a peace in Gaza and Israel. Now Israel is saying that we are ready to start fight again. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that his country is ready at any moment to resume fighting in Gaza against Hamas. Benjamin Netanyahu also warned that Israel would complete the war's objectives whether through negotiations or by any other means. We are prepared to resume intensified fighting at any moment. Our operation plans are almost ready. Netanyahu said at a ceremony of our combat officers. In Gaza, we have eliminated most of the Hamas organized forces. But let there be no doubt, we will complete the war's objectives entirely, whether through negotiations or by any other means. This comes after the Palestinian militant group accused Israel of jeopardizing the 5-week-old ceasefire by suspending the release of prisoners. The ceasefire between Israel and Hamas began on January 19th. The ceasefire between Israel and Hamas began on January 19th, has largely halted over 15 months of devastating conflict in the besieged Palestinian enclave that is Gaza. So I hope that this might extend for a longer time, this peace deal. If Israel again starts fighting and attack on Gaza, the war will be endless. The war will be endless. And this time, Donald Trump was also involved in the things. Let's see, things should not go very bad. And the other important IR update, Ukrainian President Zelensky says ready to quit as president in exchange for Ukrainian NATO membership. If you give NATO membership to Ukraine, I will step out as a president of Ukraine. This was a statement given by Zelensky. He was very hard with respect to membership, Ukrainian membership in NATO. Zelensky said that on the eve of third anniversary of Russia's invasion on Ukraine. Today, that is February 24th, marks third anniversary of Russian invasion on Ukraine. Today, that is February 24th, marks the third anniversary, 3 years completion of Russian invasion on Ukraine. And Zelensky said he was ready to quit as Ukrainian president if it means that Ukraine would be admitted into the NATO military alliance. But Donald Trump recently said Ukraine will not be admitted into NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. In fact, the war started for that. Ukraine wanted to join in NATO and Russia doesn't want Ukraine to join in NATO, so Russia started attacking Ukraine. Zelensky has faced fierce criticism from the American administration and said he wants to meet Donald Trump before US President meets Russian counterpart Putin. Zelensky has been calling for Ukraine to give NATO membership as a part of any deal to end the war. If there is a peace for Ukraine, if you really need me to leave my post, I am ready. I can exchange it for NATO's membership. This was a statement given by Zelensky. He was very tough, right? He is fighting. A small country fighting against a mighty power from the last 3 years tirelessly. A small country fighting against a mighty power from the last 3 years tirelessly. This is a thing which we need to actually understand. And very bad news that is coming up from Telangana. In Srisailam left bank tunnel, almost 8 workers were trapped inside that. Almost there was hopelessness. Rescue teams could not achieve a breakthrough till late night on Sunday, that is February 23rd, in tracking 8 persons trapped for over 30 hours in an under construction tunnel in Nagar district of Telangana. It's very bad. Srisailam left bank canal. People, and they're trying too hard, but still, in the last 30 years, hope, everything should go fine. They should be alive. But the thing is, almost 30 hours of trapping inside the tunnel. 30 hours. This is the story that is coming up. Donald Trump attacks US aid again amid doubts over Dodge charge. That is, US Agency for International Development, it seems that it is giving aid for various nationals, including India, and Donald Trump administration is claiming that it have given $21 million, it is proposed to give. There was a proposal to provide $21 million aid to India to improve or increase voter turnout in India. So, US President Donald Trump took another swipe on February 23rd at the US Agency for International Development and India for an alleged grant of millions for voter turnout during Indian elections. Since DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency, headed by Elon Musk, spoke of the grant on February 16th, Mr. Trump have referred on the same topic on 5 occasions at various public events. But more and more questions are being raised on the veracity of the information, truthfulness of the information that US is funding $21 million for India's voter turnout, $18 million for helping India with its elections. Why the hell? Mr. Trump said at a conference on February 23rd. See, this hell we want to stop. India have to stop this hell, not he. We have to stop this hell. What is this? On 5 occasions, he spoke on the same point. Why we should spend for India for voter turnout. On the same point. Why he is using time and again the name India all the time. Why we are involved in voter turnout process in India. I don't know why Trump is taking India's name all the time in this negative style. Which really bad, pathetic. Really, really bad and pathetic. So, for IR students, you should be very, very careful about this. Even Hindu paper also carried second editorial on this, foreign interference. And RBI's long-term currency swap was likely forced by financial volatility.